Road Trip and Guilt Trip. It's the 18th episode of Season 5 of The Connors. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my Connors review for the latest episode. It's Guilt Trip and Road Trip, Season 5, Episode 18. We're going to talk about all of the things involved with this one. But first, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do the Connors wrap-ups every single week that there is a new episode, and that's been really the last, I think, 4 or 5 weeks. There's been a new one every single week, but that will pause here for a little bit before we get into the final episodes of the season coming up here in a few weeks. But for now, we've got this Guilt Trip and Road Trip episode. If you are not one of my subscribers, please consider doing so down below there, or even click that notification bell. We not only do Connors reviews, but many, many other TV and movie reviews throughout the week. Even if there's no new Connors episodes, still posting lots of new things on the channel to check out. All right, so let's talk about this one in terms of, I've been starting lately with the who's been in the episode. So we have Mark and Mary both out from this one, but I think, you know, we had a real Mark heavy episode last week, so it kind of makes sense that he would not be in it this week. And Mary, she's never in it, so that makes sense too. But other than that, Louise and Neville both mentioned, but not actually in the episode. But everybody else is here. The core Connors family, you know, Jackie, Dan, Darlene, Becky, and then Harris, who has been really, you know, quite a mainstay this season. And not only that, but a lot of episodes surrounding, you know, that character and what's been going on with her. And then Ben, of course, always good to see him, and he's here too. So all right, Guilt Trip, really a little bit maybe with both of the themes, but I think the main sort of Guilt Trip plot comes to us courtesy of Darlene and Becky. So at the beginning of the episode, we learn that Darlene has gone to a conference, and so she's left all of these Post-it notes all over the house for things for Becky and Ben to take care of while she's gone, and the only one for Harris is to, you know, basically rest up and watch some TV. But they have all of these, you know, sort of insane things that they're supposed to do, and some of them are, you know, easy, like do the dishes, but then some of them are, you know, contact paper the shelves and all these things that, you know, is Darlene gone for a month at this conference? You know, like, okay. So they get into a fight once Darlene gets back about, you know, how she's controlling and all of this, and why are you doing this to me? And, you know, Becky sort of, I guess a little hurt by it, or just sort of like, why are you always on my case about things? And when we get to the root of the issue, it turns out that Darlene is basically jealous of Becky's close nature with Harris. Darlene has always tried to get close to Harris, and certainly as long as we've known Harris, which is since she was about 16 in this iteration of the show, The Connors. Well, really, I guess in Roseanne season 10, but she has been fighting her mother sort of every step of the way. And you guys have mentioned many, many times in the last few seasons in the comments that the Harris character, you know, is unlikable, and you know, she's such a brat, and this and that and the other thing. And to be honest, and I thought it was okay. This is, you know, sometimes how the you know, relationships are with 17, 18-year-old kids and their parents, and Harris is an example of that. So I still sort of defend those older episodes, but now that she's, you know, whatever age they're pretending she is now, 21, 22, they keep playing with the ages. You know, I think their relationship and Harris's relationship with Aunt Becky and with Grandpa Dan is great, you know. But it always seems sort of natural to me, even though, yeah, she comes off as a little bit of a brat, but, you know, look, her mother was also difficult as a teenager. So, you know, maybe the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, or whatever. You know, I mean, I guess it could be said Darlene was more depressed than she was difficult. which is, I think, why I sort of sympathized with her when I was growing up too, because I kind of felt the same way. But looking back, I was pretty difficult too. But um, I feel like, I don't know, the Harris character has kind of gotten a bum rap in some ways, because of how that's been sort of dealt with, and maybe she was a little bit unlikable. But was it an inauthentic character? I didn't think so, but be that as it may, you guys in the comments always let me know through the years, why is Harris such a jerk, whatever. And that's valid too, but I don't know. I had a little bit of a different take on it, but now, that she's a little bit grown, you would expect maybe her and Darlene would kind of get closer, but I don't know, the way they've been writing Darlene this season specifically, I guess maybe last season too, but she just seems so very, difficult is the best word. I know I've said that a few times, but she just seems so angry and aggressive, and all of that. And Becky sort of made the point that, oh, this is your house now, and so you're reminding me that, I better, pay my way basically to live here, and do all these ridiculous chores, and maybe there's some validity to that too. But we got to the bottom of it, and okay, she's getting close to Harris, and Darlene can't take that. But one of the great things about this whole season has been kind of seeing, now that they're all under one roof, seeing sort of the different parenting styles. We didn't see Beverly Rose in this episode, but Becky mentions kind of to Darlene the same issues that she has. She's like, when I hear that Ben read Beverly Rose a book that I hadn't read her yet, and his voices are so funny and this and that, it's like a gut punch. And so I like that they're able to kind of bond over that sort of stuff, rather than, kind of snipping at each other the whole episode. And this whole episode, we'll get into the road trip part too, a lot of snipping. I know that is sort of the cornerstone of the Connor family, but there just seemed to be a lot of, kind of pot shots taken in this episode, even more so maybe than usual. But anyway, so that was sort of the guilt trip portion of the episode. I will say, I know it was for humorous purposes too, but in terms of the grounded in reality nature of this show, usually, they put way too many post-its up in the kitchen. There were some on the windows, and there were some on the fridge, and all, every countertop had one. Unless Darlene was gone, for really weeks and weeks at this conference, come on now. She really took all the time to write probably 50 to 60 post-it notes, color coordinate them, and then go to this conference and expect things to be done within 2 days or whatever. It's like, all right, that's a little ridiculous. All right, so the road trip portion, Dan and Jackie end up going to Oklahoma to get this big tool collection for the hardware store. Dan sees that there's, I don't know if it was a closeout or whatever, I forget, but 70% off of, all of these really quality tools that he's like, oh, we could, easily turn a profit on this and make the hardware store something, of a profit this quarter, this year, whatever. And Jackie's like, well, I still have some friends in the big rig community. I could, cash in a favor, and we could go. Now, again, the reality, I think, it differs a little bit. Now, one of my roommates is a truck driver, but they don't own their own truck, so I guess maybe it's a little bit different. If this dude Jackie knows owns their own truck, I guess they're able to just, kind of wheel and deal it out. But I don't know. But in any event, you can't have the storyline without that concept. So all right. So they get on the road, and everything seems fine. They're trucking along literally, and they stop for breakfast though, and Dan sort of mentions, hey, you could pick up that check. After all, he apologized later in the episode, but he was like, after all that the family has done for you, now that you have a little bit of money through Neville, because he realizes that Neville gave her a debit card, you could help pay for stuff, whatever. It starts this big argument over an $11 breakfast. I don't know. We just had an episode the other week of Dan kind of sniping at Jackie for, really no reason. And we kind of have that here too. But he gets in a conversation with Jackie about this money that Neville has. And she's like, we don't even have a joint account. He just, kind of gave me this debit card for gas, and that's all that we're supposed to do with it. Dan kind of pushes her to get to the bottom of that, and she calls him, and he says, "Oh, no, it's not you. I love you, honey. It's your your family, your grifter family. I think they have." Some ways of making you do for them, and X, Y, and Z, and they'll bleed you dry basically. So that's why we don't have this joint account, and so she has a whole relief, sigh of relief, whatever. Whereas, Dan's like, oh my God, we're going to have a conversation about this, because of course, not only is Neville, Dan's brother in law through Jackie's marriage, but he is Louise's brother, and now, Louise is Dan's wife. So he's really like a brother in law twofold, or whatever. So, they'll I guess talk about that off screen, but I don't know, I thought that part was funny, but the rest of it was just like, oh man, like why are we sniping at each other again? And at one point Jackie's like, well, you know what, then you drive the big rig, I'm gonna hitchhike back to Lanford, and this and that. It's like so a lot of fighting in this episode, some laughs for sure. I definitely enjoyed some of the jokes. There was kind of a recurring gag about Darlene getting banned from Chuck E. Cheese. I thought was funny, and some good lines with Jackie and Dan too. But a lot of fighting. I know this season's actually been my favorite season so far of the Connors. It's not easy. 5 seasons in, and really 6 seasons because of the Roseanne reboot. And really, what, almost 20 seasons if you if you tack on the Roseanne stuff. But it's not easy for a show this long in the tooth to consistently be so good. I personally, I think this was a little bit of an off episode just because there's just a lot of arguing and sniping, and I know that's sort of one of the Connor hallmarks. But I don't think there was. Well, I do like the resolution. I will say I liked the moment at the end with Darlene and Becky, sort of discovering that they're a little more alike in the motherhood sense than maybe they realized. And the Dan and Jackie resolution was all right as well. Some humor there with Neville, but and I got some laughs throughout. But yeah, I just wish, I guess maybe there wouldn't be as much infighting, especially Dan and Jackie. We just had that a few weeks ago, where he had to apologize again for saying something, a little bit over the line with her and whatever. So I just got some sort of retread vibes from that. But overall, I did like this episode. It's not up with some of the best ones of the season, but in terms of the show in general, I think it's definitely good. MVP for the episode, I'm not even sure. I don't know that I can pick one necessarily, and not because everybody was so great, but everybody was so just sort of, even keel. Jackie, had her moments, of course. I don't know. Lacey Goranson was good as Becky. Is there an MVP this episode? I guess I have to choose one, right? It's my rule. I mean, I don't. Sometimes I forget to do one, but I don't know. We'll give it to Lacey Goranson for Becky. Just because I do like some of the lines she had, and her character's kind of resolution of everything, and having some fun ideas with Harris to make the cleaning a little more amusing, and they put like whatever Swiffers on their feet and stuff, and so all right, I'll give it to her on this one. All right, I will grade the episode. I give Guilt Trip and Road Trip a B. And next week, I guess there is no new episode, but we'll be back soon with the remainder of the season. There's supposed to be 22 episodes, so that is 4 more, if my math is correct. I think it is. And so I don't know if they're going to do those all in a row. Probably not. If I know ABC, they'll do like 2 and then a break, 1 or 2 reruns, and then the final 2 or something. But in any event, we will do those when they come up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.